We have lived in your shadows for 3,000 years. Tonight, the shadows bite back. On October 31st, 2024, every screen on Earth displayed the same message. It wasn't a hack. It wasn't a prank. It was a declaration of war from a species humanity thought was myth. This is the story of Pretty Duku, the werewolf who refused to hide anymore. If you're ready to dive into a world where shadows have teeth and legends demand justice, you're in the right place. This is the story of Pretty Duku and his pack, the werewolves who refuse to hide anymore. Subscribe to Pania Moonbound Realm for more epic stories of magic, mystery, and the creatures that lurk between worlds. Drop a comment below. Team Werewolf or Team Humanity? Let us know where you stand. Like this video if you want to see more stories from the Moonbound Realm. Hit that notification bell so you never miss when legends come alive. Now, let the story begin. The message arrived on every screen simultaneously at 11:47 p.m. on October 31st, 2024. Phones, laptops, Times Square billboards, even the emergency broadcast system crackled to life with a voice that was neither fully human nor fully animal. We have lived in your shadows for 3,000 years. We have watched you destroy our forests, poison our streams, and hunt our kin to extinction. Tonight, the shadows bite back. The signature at the bottom read simply, "The Pretty Duku Pack." Dr. Sarah Chen was the first expert called to the scene in rural Montana. What local authorities thought was a bear attack turned out to be something far more calculated. The logging camp had been dismantled with surgical precision. Machinery sabotaged, power lines severed, supply routes blocked. But it was the message spray-painted across the foreman's trailer that made her blood run cold. This forest is not yours to take. Massive claw marks, too large, too deliberate, were gouged into the metal beneath the words. These aren't random animal attacks, Sarah told the FBI agent assigned to the case. This is insurgency. Over the next 2 weeks, 12 more sites were hit. Mining operations in Colorado, a fracking facility in North Dakota, a luxury development carved into protected wetlands in Oregon. Each time, the pattern was the same: systematic destruction, 0 human casualties, and a message left behind. The Pretty Duku Pack was making a point, not a massacre. TikTok exploded first. A shaky video showed massive wolves, far larger than any natural species, moving through a suburban neighborhood in formation, like a military unit. They stopped traffic but harmed no one. The lead wolf, silver-furred and scarred, stared directly into a doorbell camera for 5 seconds before the pack vanished into the night. The video hit 40 million views in 6 hours. Twitter erupted into factions. Team Werewolf trended alongside Team Humanity first. Environmental activists called them freedom fighters. Governments labeled them terrorists. Cryptozoologists had collective meltdowns. And late-night comedians awkwardly joked about the apocalypse finally having good marketing. Then came the interview. A pirate radio broadcast, scrambled to avoid tracking, featured a voice calling itself Pretty Duku, Alpha of the Pack. The audio was shared millions of times before authorities could scrub it. "We don't want your extinction. We want recognition. For millennia, we've hidden because you hunt what you don't understand. But we're not asking for permission anymore. We're demanding a seat at the table or we'll flip the table entirely." The Pentagon convened an emergency session. How do you fight an enemy that can blend into civilian populations by day and becomes nearly unstoppable by night? An enemy with intelligence, organization, and apparently a PR team. Special forces were deployed to Montana. They found nothing but tracks leading in circles through the mountains. A taunt. Drones equipped with thermal imaging picked up heat signatures that moved too fast, vanished too quickly. Then came the mistake. A National Guard unit in Wyoming encountered what they believed was the pack. They opened fire. When the smoke cleared, they'd killed a family of gray wolves from the nearby sanctuary. Regular animals, not werewolves. The backlash was immediate. Protests erupted in major cities. "They're murdering wildlife to hunt myths," the headlines read. The Pretty Duku Pack released a statement calling the humans desperate and dangerous. It was a college student named Maya Rodriguez who changed everything. She posted a video essay that went viral. What if they're right? She laid out the pack's demands, which had been hidden in coded messages across their attacks. Legal recognition as a sentient species with rights. Protected territories where they could live without human encroachment. An end to deforestation in designated ancestral lands. A truth and reconciliation process for centuries of persecution. They're not asking for dominance, Maya argued to her 12 million followers. They're asking for what every indigenous population has asked for, the right to exist. The UN formed an emergency council. After 6 tense weeks of back-channel communications facilitated by wildlife biologists and anthropologists, a meeting was arranged. It took place in Glacier National Park at dawn. No weapons, no cameras, just negotiators from 12 nations and 3 werewolves in human form. Pretty Duku was younger than expected, maybe 30 in human years, with the same silver-scarred face from the viral video. When he spoke, his words were measured, weary. "We didn't want war. We wanted to be left alone, but you left us nowhere to hide." The negotiations lasted 3 days. There were moments of tension. A Russian delegate who refused to sit at the same table as animals. A werewolf who nearly walked out when someone suggested reservations. But slowly, painfully, common ground emerged. Both sides had lost too much. Both sides wanted it to end. The Pretty Duku Accords, as they came to be known, were signed on January 15, 2025. It wasn't perfect. Compromises never are. The werewolves would receive protected territories and limited self-governance. Humanity would acknowledge their existence and establish laws against persecution. In return, the pack would cease hostile actions and help mediate between human expansion and wildlife preservation. Some called it appeasement. Others called it evolution. The day after the signing, Pretty Duku appeared on 60 Minutes. When asked if he regretted the conflict, he was quiet for a long moment. "I regret that it took vandalism and fear to make you listen. But no, I don't regret fighting for my pack's survival. I hope your children never have to understand that choice." 2 years later, the werewolf territories in Montana, Alaska, and parts of Canada have become the most pristine nature preserves on the continent. Tourism is carefully managed. Scientific partnerships have yielded breakthroughs in sustainable forestry. Humans hike the outer regions during the day, always aware that they're guests in someone else's home. Some have even caught glimpses of the pack, massive forms moving through the trees, close enough to be seen, far enough to remain wild. There are still tensions, still protests from those who believe humanity gave up too much, or that the werewolves didn't receive enough. But the war is over. And every October 31st, a howl echoes from Pretty Duku Mountain. Not a threat, but a reminder. We are here. We are watching. We are not your monsters anymore. But we remember when you made us that way.